Hello Runescape, Ulmisid here with the new video, and how is everyone doing? Very recently, a new poll was released into the game, which is called basically the combat level calculation. And what this is about is that you can vote between 138 combat and 200 combat. And at the moment, 138 old combat formula is winning with 71%, where the 200, the current formula, has 28%. And I figured I'd have a little chat about this, mainly because of that a lot of people at the moment are asking me about this, even though I mentioned it in a few videos earlier. But I figured that I could talk a little bit about it, about what's good with the various ones and what's bad with the various ones, and what we could optionally or alternatively do, I guess. So I'm going to start right off with 138, because 138 is mentioned first in this little order here. And 138 is what the game veterans would most likely prefer, and the reason for that is that 138 is what they're used to from before the evolution of combat. And I do think that some people would vote for 138 purely because of that it was before the evolution of combat, and some people really want the game option that was before the evolution of combat, even with legacy mode coming up very soon in the, well, during the summer I think it was. And to be fair, I think that some people who vote might not really be sure what they're voting for. I think they might be voting out of purely nostalgia. I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying it's a very likely possibility that that's actually what's going on right now. And the bad thing with level 138 combat is purely that it's very confusing for new players to actually know how it functions. And we don't even know how it functions. It's some kind of incredibly complicated calculation that no one really, well, some people might understand it, but not very many people at all. I don't understand at all how it works. And I think that is a negative thing for the entire combat formula. I think that when a new player signs up for the game, they should exactly know how or what it takes to actually level up their combat level, instead of actually have to go on, for example, Tipit and check out their, like, little, what's it called, the calculation thing they have to actually check out what it takes for leveling a combat. And I think that's something that should really be considered by everyone. But the thing with 138 combat is that by getting this, there is actually an achievement by leveling up to 138 combat. Okay, so it's like if you train all your combat skills and whatever, you will eventually get 138 combat when most of them are over level 95. Some of them need to be at level 99 even, which I think is a really good thing, because it shows that you actually trained a lot for your combat to actually be that high, and you're actually a really good player rather than just having 299s and therefore you're maxed. Which brings us on to the negatives about the evolution of combat formula, which is purely what kind of the opposite thing. Basically, it's like easy to understand, you know. It's like it's very easy to know that you need 2 for combat skills to 99 and add in 2 and you have 200. Everyone knows that now, I think, at least, and it's quite obvious to know that, and it's quite simple to know that. But the negative thing here is that it takes away the accomplishment, and I completely understand that. I don't like that at all either. Like, I want it to be some kind of accomplishment to actually be able to level up to max combat, and I agree, like, it's how it's supposed to be. Still, however, I voted on level 200 combat mainly because it's easier to understand for new players, and I believe the winning option will be able to discuss whatever is actually the best option to actually do. Like, if this one wins or this one wins, we'll be able to discuss however we can, I guess, form it to be as good as it possibly can, which I think is a very good thing to do. But at the same time, I fear that with 138 winning at the moment, that everything will be just as it was before the evolution of combat. And I think that is a very bad thing, because, as I've said, it's hard to understand. You don't really know what's going on with it, and I think that should be changed. There's also the thing with prayer and HP at the moment. Like, I don't want those to be reset. Like, if I have to, in order to remain low level combat, that's what I'm gonna do, and that's my choice alone. And of course, if I can do that, it'd be great and everything, but I would rather not, you know. Obviously I would rather not. So if I could have the option to, I would take whatever you guys are happy with, hopefully make the combat formula somewhat easy to understand, and just leave prayer and HP out of this, you know. Just let them be non-combat stats, and I'd be really happy about that, you know. That's okay with me and everything. The alternative option here would be, that we could vote for, would be to create an entirely new combat formula. And I honestly think that would be a really good option to do in the long run, mainly because we can make something new that everyone is happy with. For example, we can make every stat count towards combat, but make the max combat 138. You know, it's a quite simple idea. And I think this guy just finished his daily task. I'm gonna say congrats. You got 80 million thieving XP, actually. Pretty awesome. But the point is that if we could rather just make something new that makes sense to new players, that will make sense towards combat, that you need to level up every single skill in order to reach the max combat that could be 138. I think people would be happy about it. It would bring back the accomplishment to it, and it would let people be happy with which number is the max combat. It is 138 if we bring back this kind of, I guess, calculation to it, which I think is the best option to do. Let me know in the comment section below what you voted and why you voted it. My name is Runescape, and I'll see you guys later.